All right. Well, it's again been way too long. We're getting worse at this.
Yep.
Yep. I was expecting every time we do this, we do a test just to make sure that we're like that the recording's working and that like we can hear it and where the sound levels are kind of thing. And Brooklyn was doing her Australian accent in it. So I was kind of looking over. Yeah, I was kind of looking over expecting Brooklyn to then respond with her Australian accent. Do it.
Good day, mate. So stupid.
It sounds a lot better when she's feeling brave and not being listened to. I'm actually surprised that you even did that. What a brave Brooklyn.
Getting braver.
She's a brave Brooklyn. Okay. We got like 3 weeks to talk about. Just first off, we're going to try something. We're going to try this in a different format. Not that this is important at all, but we are not going to do an opinion segment at the end. We're just going to do it in the middle. If you guys hate it, please let us know and we'll change. But we'll still we'll kind of do a sidebar. So we'll say what we did and then we'll be like, okay, here's our opinion on that thing.
Which is what we do anyways. We're basically not.
Yeah, so we're just we're just going to condense it into one thing. So yeah. So last week we filmed as we were driving.
Not last week. Last time we recorded.
Last time we did this, we recorded ourselves while we were driving to Indio, California, which we probably shouldn't have been recording while we were driving. But I did a good job, and I looked at the road the whole time. I didn't look at the car. I didn't look at, I looked at the car. I didn't look at the phone or Brooklyn. So
even though I'm
probably safer.
But
that was pretty fun. Very distracting. Anyway, so that's what we were doing 3 weeks ago, and that's where we're going to start is as we pulled in to the hotel in Indio, California.
Oh, you're not going anywhere with that?
No,
that sounded like an intro.
No,
for
that
an awesome
is
story.
well. I mean, it's the intro to what we're going to talk about. This was 3 weeks ago, though. So we got to the hotel, and so David and I planned this pretty last minute, but basically it was like Wednesday, and he realized that he had Monday off, and so he's like, "Hey, do you want to do a trip this weekend?" And I was like, "Yeah." And so we planned it really quick, but we got a hotel with adjoining room, two rooms with adjoining doors, so that we could put the kids down at 8 and still hang out and play games and stuff. Anyway, so we got there, we kind of settled in. We got there really close to the same time. I mean, obviously we planned that, but we only really waited for like 5 or 10 minutes before they showed up and settled in, decided we were going to go get something to eat. So we looked up and we settled on a Mexican restaurant called La Paloma, which means...
It sounds like the lung to me.
I can't...
I don't remember what it actually
Brooklyn
means,
thinks it's pulmonary. Crap. I can't remember either.
Could look it up.
David said, I don't want to because if I type, it's going to make noise on
we're talking about it, so...
No, it's all right.
Okay.
Those Spanish speakers out there that know and are like screaming at their whatever they're listening to, like, it's this.
Let us know what it is.
Yeah. Sorry about that. Anyway, so there they had the biggest burritos. And they were delicious.
They were really good.
That was a really, really good restaurant.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't a fancy restaurant. It was like
it's like in the middle of this teeny little strip mall.
Yeah.
In the middle of nowhere.
Yeah. But the but it was kind of like rancheritos, just really big, well wrapped burritos that you can actually hold in your hand and eat. Like not a fork and knife burrito, but like a big burrito. Big
clean burrito.
Yeah. So Brooklyn got a carne asada burrito, and I got the same thing. Well, it was called the La Paloma burrito. But
that plus shrimp.
Yeah, it was just that with shrimp. It was really good.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So if you ever happen to be in Indio next to that strip mall, definitely 10 out of 10.
Right. That's like, sometimes we think about that. It's like these places we go, like we'll never go back to. Like but we'll tell you what we thought of it. Anyway. Anyway, that night we finished dinner. We went back. We're just kind of hanging out, chatting, put the kids down. We played a board game that night called Subterra, which is a game that David kickstarted. He backed it, and
he didn't do the Kickstarter. He helped fund it
and got the game because of the funding that he put toward it. Right. But it's way fun. It's like you're these little cave explorers, and the cave is all in tiles. So as you explore to the next like tile, you take a random tile and flip it over, and you're trying to run away from these monsters and find the way out and stuff. It's pretty fun though. Mm-hmm. We like it a lot. I like it a lot.
Yeah, it's fun.
What do you think about it?
I think it's a great group game that is not hard to understand, because I kind of hate games that have like a huge intro explanation, like where you have to learn all the rules. I hate that.
We were talking about
I always end up liking games at the end usually, but it's just if you have to explain the rules to me for like 30 minutes, like I'm out after the first like 30 seconds.
I know.
It's like we'll learn as we go. I hate
sometimes like we'll be
rules.
We probably said this, but sometimes we'll be like learning a new game or at somebody's house, and Brooklyn will just kind of be like drifting off not paying attention during the instructions. Sometimes I'll be like, "Oh, Brooklyn, did you get that?" And she's like, and I'm like, "Don't worry, she'll get it as we play. Like it will be okay. She'll get it. This just doesn't make sense to her."
This is how I feel. Is I go to work all day long, and then I come home, and it feels like more work, except worse because I love drawing, and I hate listening to rules. It's like if I have to. That might
be where it all actually stems from.
What?
You just hate rules.
I hate rules.
Yeah,
I'm such a rebel. Just kidding. But yeah, it just feels like I'm coming home from work and I'm just like still working, and it's so much work to listen to these rules and figure out this game. It's like I just want to relax. I hate board games. Just kidding. I actually really like board games, but I hate learning rules.
Learning board games.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Anyway, that was really fun. We were going to play another game too, but at 10 o'clock, our old parent butts tuckered us out. We were done. Clarissa was falling asleep. Brooklyn was falling asleep. I was getting there. David was not, and he was upset that we didn't play another game. But that's okay. He'll just have to deal with that. But that was fun. I would definitely recommend Subterra if someone's like into board games and like, oh, I need a new board game that's kind of fun. It's a pretty good one. Pretty good group game. So
it is fun.
Yeah. Probably, yeah, like 9 out of 10. Sometimes I feel like there are certain board games, because I'm different than Brooklyn. I love complex rules. Well, I don't love it, but I get it. So like I get systems pretty quickly, and so it's fun to have more rules and kind of like intricacies and stuff. And this one is like so sometimes this is kind of like how so we're sidebarring a sidebar, or going on a tangent from a tangent. Mm-hmm. But this is how I feel about sledding and skiing, like tubing and water skiing or wakeboarding is like it is fun to tube.
You mean sledding versus skiing?
Sorry, yeah,
water,
yeah, okay. And tubing on water versus water skiing or wakeboarding. It's kind of the same thing. Is like tubing and sledding, they are fun. But skiing, whether on water or snow, is so much better. It's just like you have so much more control. There's a lot more nuance to it. You can do things other than just like be at the whim of the hill or the person who's like driving you on the tube. And so now I've explained that. If I have a choice, as a matter of fact, even when the only choice is sledding, I'll be like, I don't want to go sledding because there's just something that's way better. Though when I go sledding, when I am inevitably forced to go sledding by Brooklyn, then I mean, I love it. It's super fun, but I'd way rather do something else. This is how I feel about some board games, like, and this is where I would almost put Subterra. It's like bordering on that, where it's like it's got enough good mechanics because of the tile flipping and stuff that it's fun, but it still is really simple. And so I like a little bit more complexity where like there's a little bit more like strategy involved or thinking.
So you don't like it all to be left to chance, or
well, yeah. I mean,
like you can't really
sometimes like just a normal good chance game's fine, but yeah, that's why we were talking about, or we played backgammon a couple months ago, and that's why I like backgammon too, is because there's a little chance element, but then you also have a lot of strategy and like what pieces you move, even though you dice. So you roll dice. So yeah, I don't know. I do like games that are, yeah, like, yeah. Anyway. That's a whole other thing that I explained.
Matt feels very passionate about sledding.
I hate sledding, but I love it. But I just don't. I like skiing so much better.
Board games in general for me are the equivalent of sledding for Matt. So we understand each other.
Yeah.
Right?
Sure.
Kind of.
It's close to that.
Okay.
Anyway, so that night we slept, and June cried a lot. So we had been trying to sleep train her by essentially, like, we'd been weaning off that first feeding.
So every night I would do it like 30 seconds less.
But she was still waking up every night at like midnight, right?
Right.
That was like, so she's had 2 feedings, and we'll talk about kind of where we're at with it now, but she's had 2 feedings for the last probably 2 or 3 months, where it's just she wakes up.
3, sometimes it's 3.
Yeah, sometimes 3, but like generally it's she wakes up at midnight to feed, and she wakes up at 4 to feed. Like those are, I mean, generally the times. And so at this point we had been weaning Juniper off that first feeding to the point where we were done. Like we weren't feeding her anymore, and we had been putting her to bed at the same time every night. Like we'd been really rigid about it. But that night she just cried. I can't remember exactly what it was, but it made us give up.
Yeah. Well,
that's not it's just it.
It's just that, like, so if she only has the one feeding at 4, but she wakes up at 2, it's like, well, we can't, like, so basically if you feed her earlier or you feed her again at midnight, then you basically have to start over, because now you fed her at that time,
and so she'll wake up for it.
Yeah, so she's gonna become accustomed to waking up for that.
But since we were like with people and at a hotel and stuff, we didn't want her just to like cry from 1 o'clock till 4 o'clock.
Right.
You know. Anyway, we kind of
that's the whole thing, is like if you're trying
to
keep
have
her,
to do that.
Yeah, if you're trying to keep down the feeding, you kind of have to let them cry it out during the time that you've like weaned off the feeding.
Right.
And that's just basically, it means you don't get any sleep.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I can't do this anymore.
Yeah, and so we decided, we're like, you know what, we're just going to keep feeding her for now while she's growing and while we're kind of working on some other stuff. So we kind of gave up then, but she cried a lot that night, and we ended up going into the room that she was sleeping in, because we were in just like 2 queen beds in the other room, so the kids could be in that other room. In one room, so the kids could be in the other, and then we got up in the middle of the night, moved into the other room so that we could be there and help her, because she was crying a lot. But it was okay. And the next morning we all got up, we had breakfast, continental breakfast. At the
anyone watches what I'm talking about. Continental.
Because all good hotels have continental breakfast, and I will say this was one of the better continental breakfasts. It was actually,
not bad,
because Brooklyn and I don't spend a lot of money on hotels ever, and this one was probably like one of it's still just a chain hotel. I think it was like a Holiday Inn or a La Quinta, or something like that, but a Quality Inn is what it was, but so all the other places, like the continental breakfast is literally like a piece of toast,
a Danish or something,
and a Danish, yeah, exactly,
like the worst
or like
breakfast ever.
a little package of yogurt and a bagel. Like that's all. And this place had those, but also it had the step up. So there were eggs and bacon and sausage and biscuits and gravy, which is what I had, which was fantastic. And stuff. Yeah, fruit, just like a lot of good. Yeah, it was a much better continental breakfast. But 10 out of 10 would continental breakfast again there. Just kidding. I don't know where we're going. We're taking way too much time.
Then we went to Joshua Tree.
Yeah, so the whole reason for the trip is we're going to Joshua Tree National Park, which is right there by Indio, and it is a really cool park. So we came in on the southern side of it, and there's one road that winds all the way up to the northwestern part of it, and so Indio is just on the southern side. But what we didn't realize is that there's almost nothing on the southern side of the park until you get all the way to the north. So again, we planned this like 3 days before it happened. So we weren't super organized, but it was really fun. So we got in there, we drove to the visitor center and found out the things that we wanted to do. And David and Clarissa had like a 5-hour drive back. And so that day, and so anyway,
we just got to hit a couple places.
Yeah, we hit a couple places. So the one place we went was a Cholla cactus garden, and that was cool.
Yeah, they're like little teddy bears.
That's their nickname is Teddy Bear Cactus. And they're really cool cactus, like a more prickly pear, and taller. They grow.
And they're round. They're like rounded out.
Yeah, I don't know. They're pretty cool. And it's really interesting because the whole park is this really like super desert. I mean, it's just like the deserty desert. As a matter of fact, it's 2 deserts. There are 2 deserts that meet, and there's a ridge of mountains that go through the middle of the park that like split these 2 deserts. And one side is completely different, like plant and animal life than the other side is, which is really cool. But basically on this southern side, it was the most barren place I've ever been in my entire life. But then all of a sudden there was this big cactus garden that you can walk through. And it was really big, and it was really fun to walk through. Yeah. Just kind of a nice little start to.
It's amazing that anything grows there, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's cool to read about like the adaptations that the plants have gone through in order to thrive there.
Yeah.
Some of the animals.
And the animals, yeah.
There's this one bird that will impale their prey on like the spikes of Joshua trees, which is like crazy.
Yeah,
I just think it's interesting.
There's like,
but that's
they give you like the handouts of like a park map and some like interesting things about it, and that's where she read it. But also they have an illustration of it like impaling a lizard on a Joshua tree. It's just kind of funny.
I was really hoping we'd see something like that happen, but nope.
But we walked through there, and then we went farther along, and this is when we got to like the northern part. And on the northern part, there's this is where like the Joshua trees are, which they are way cool trees. And like it's a forest but a desert, and it's cool because they're just really, some of them are really tall, and they are just and the way they're spaced, it's just really cool to be out in Joshua Tree. My dad was talking about Joshua trees and how they're just one of the most incredible, like they can't, basically if they die, they can't like grow them from seed. They don't like know how to do it, kind of thing.
Oh really?
I think that's what he was saying, that they're just like really sensitive, and they take so long to grow that it's just like one of the most sensitive like species in an environment. Like if a burn comes through and kills some of them, and grass comes up, like cheatgrass comes up, that it will like kill, like you can never get Joshua trees back in that area, which is
they
really
only grow like an inch a year too, right?
Yeah, an inch a year.
And so if you look at how tall they are, you can kind of calculate how old they are, which is interesting.
Which is crazy.
The same with saguaro
cactus.
They are really old.
And it's the same kind of thing, like they're way old, and if you like chop one down or knock it over, you have to, it's like $100,000 fines kind of thing to replace them. Anyway, that was another good tangent. But we got up into this northern part, and there are these really cool rock formations. They're like really round rocks, and if you are looking at them from like just from the road, they look like almost a sandstone rock, but they're not. They're a metamorphic rock, almost like a I can't remember my rocks. Anyway, they're like more sharp and jagged, but hiking up through them was really nice. We found a place for a picnic and we climbed around up on the rocks and stuff, and it was really, really fun.
Yeah.
Just like chilling for a while and hiked through that.
Ate some Uncrustables
because those are good lunches. Yeah, those are so good. But and then after that, we didn't have a lot more time. And we spent a couple hours doing that, but we, at that point, Dave and Clarissa had to get going home, and so did we. They didn't get home till way late, but we drove home and stopped at a restaurant on the way home because it was getting late, and it was called 2KRZY Grill. So 2 Crazy Grill was the name of it. And it was just super random. So and the reason is because part of my my goal this year is to not eat at fast food places
unless they're new.
So
like you couldn't go to all the regular places.
Right. So that way it just like it limits the choices. So I can't. Anyway. So we looked up a new fast food place and we stopped at this 2 Crazy Grill, which was this like Mexican, Asian, American fusion grill kind of thing.
It was actually really
good.
It
was really good.
It was like a panini burrito.
Yeah, so we got these. I asked what was the best thing in these crazy wraps, and I just got like the normal ones, but they had ones with like French fries in them and onion rings and like these crazy weird things. But the sauce was like a sriracha, like mayo. I don't know. It was so funny. It was a funny place. But it was really good.
It was the only one of its kind.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, it was the only one that exists. It's not a chain or anything. We just happened to go to that one, so that's pretty cool. Yeah. Pretty good. I'd go back there if I was ever in. I can't remember. I looked it up.
Somewhere between LA and Indio.
Yeah, I don't even know what city it was. So maybe we'll never. I mean, we'll never go back there. Maybe.
Never.
Anyway, so basically we made it home, and that was the end of our Joshua Tree trip.
Mm-hmm. It was really fun.
Yep. And so now we're going to just keep going through, because since it's been so long, I don't know exactly what days this all happened, but this is what happened. So after that, BYU came to Tony, to Sony, and talk about that. What happened?
Okay, yeah. So the BYU illustration department does a tour of LA every other year. So one year they do LA, and then the off year they do New York. And so I actually came on the LA trip 2 years ago. And it was like the day after we toured Sony that Gianna Day, who's a recruiter at Sony, reached out to me. It was like, hey, we want to interview you. So that's just kind of fun to like realize it's already been 2 years. Anyway, so they came and they just tour a bunch of studios and they go to museums and the beach and all these kinds of things, which is really fun. And so they came to Sony and I just did like a little character design presentation.
How long was it?
It was like 30 minutes.
Yeah. It wasn't just a little presentation.
Yeah.
That's a big presentation.
It was a big presentation. I was really proud of myself.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway, so that was fun.
Yeah, it was, so basically she did a presentation and then they did like a question and answer thing. But I just think it's like cool to see. It's like Brooklyn was just on that, doing that tour, attending that tour.
Like I was just a
2
student.
years
It's
ago,
cool to see like
progression.
Yeah, and I think it's cool for students too to see that there are opportunities to work in the industry and that they can make it too. So it was good. It was really inspiring and hopefully helpful for the kids.
Yeah. Definitely. That's cool. And then that weekend, the next weekend. So I don't know what happened that week. It was a blur. Probably fun things. But that weekend, we started on Friday and we organized the entire house in a different way. Well, basically, if you can't tell by the poor quality of the sound, we're not in the closet anymore, nor are we under a blanket because my computer's much quieter now because I switched out the CPU cooler and so we're not picking that up. We can record at a desk, but there's no blankets, no nothing.
So let us know if the quality is
It's garbage,
much worse.
and I know it.
I'm sure it's fine.
Just kidding. It's fine. That's why I don't care. I'm not too worried about it this time. But we moved the desk out of the closet.
And if you can't remember, the reason it was in there was because I was recording the SVS course.
Correct.
Which should launch any day now, I think.
Oh, yeah. That'd be awesome.
So, yeah. Stay tuned.
So we moved it out of the closet. We
moved our dresser back into the closet.
Our dresser back into the closet.
Which was just sitting at the foot of our bed.
And we got rid of a bunch of clothes so that we could then fit the pack and play in the closet. Mm-hmm. I geniusly masterminded and invented this sheet that's hung up so that clothes can't fall into the pack and play.
Right. So we just stapled the sheet to this dowel that we put over the
that makes it sound way less
really
cool.
Ghetto. It looks cool, okay?
It doesn't look cool. It looks ghetto too, but it serves its purpose perfectly.
And June's safe.
So we put the pack and play in there. We scooted all our stuff over so there's nothing above her, and now that's where she sleeps, which has been the best thing in the world that's ever happened, undoubtedly.
Since becoming parents.
Yeah.
Barring having her.
Yeah. No, I mean, like, seriously, because we can close doors and it gets dark. It is impossible to keep our living room dark.
During naps.
Or even during night.
That's true.
Even at night, because there are 2 street lamps outside. But during the day, during naps, it's still bright. So she just can't get that, like, deep sleep.
She sleeps so much better now. She sleeps
way better. Like, we can just go put her down. Like, she cries for a second, but she, like, now knows, oh, it's nap time. And it's quiet because it's a closet. So it absorbs a lot of sound. It's dark. It's comfortable. And so she sleeps way better in there. Mm-hmm. So we moved her in.
And we don't have to, like, tiptoe around the living room.
And now we can
be quiet.
Yeah, at night we can even, like, watch TV and movies without headphones in.
And she doesn't
wake up. So that's
really nice. When Hannah was here, we were all just sitting in, like, this sweaty closet. I feel so bad.
Oh, yeah.
Just because, like, June was really sensitive to sound, and if we kept waking her up, she wouldn't sleep well at night.
Yeah, so that was pretty bad.
Now when people come over, they have to sit in the sweaty closet.
Yeah. Not sweaty. Stuffy. Not a sweaty closet. That's disgusting.
This closet was sweating.
That's
gross. As were we.
But that's good. We were able to move her in there. And then we also organized a bunch of stuff. So I got a new stand and lifted up my computer up off the ground. We redid some of the computer stuff.
Which, as it turns out, if you keep your computer on the ground, it just is likely to get a lot more dust in it. And we didn't realize.
Just as dust settles. So, but also it's nice because it moves it up. It makes cords closer to you and to your, like, monitors and keyboards and mice and stuff. But yeah, so we're out of the closet.
And it feels so great.
No, just kidding.
And I was worried about putting her in the closet just because it's like when you're waking up multiple times a night, it's just nice to have the baby right there so you can just feed them, put them right back. But it's been amazing.
Yeah, but it's way better because she
and I wouldn't have done it earlier than
also
now.
When we go to sleep, it doesn't it doesn't wake her up like when we go to bed because it's just so nice. Yeah. So yeah, and we'll talk about her later. Anyway, that weekend, as we were just finishing all of it up, we also babysat Milo and Iris, Milo is the Muth's little kid. He's like 5. Iris is the Brantley's little girl, and she's 2. And we invited them over we babysat them because we were going to do it for Valentine's Day. So we offered.
But they were out of town.
Yeah, we offered. We were like, hey, like, we just want to be good friends and babysit on Valentine's Day.
Mm.
But
because
they were out
they
of town.
host us so many times.
They host us
and we've never
all the
hosted them
time.
because we live in a tiny place.
Yeah.
so
it was good to do that. Plus those kids are hilarious. And so Milo and I played Luigi's Mansion and Lego Incredibles, and then we watched Zootopia, and Iris, it didn't matter what we were doing. Iris was just having fun.
Mm-hmm.
She's just crazy.
So cute.
We also realized that our house is not toddler proof.
Nope.
It's like barely baby proof.
Yeah, it's like the level at which June can reach is baby proof at this point.
Yeah.
But yeah, Iris was just like, what's this? What's this? What's this? And like grabbing the knives and stuff. Just kidding. But
Not
just
knives.
grabbing stuff. And I was like, oh my gosh.
It's like we need
Like
to
just
make some
worried that she's
serious
going to
changes.
like get electrocuted or
as
something.
Juniper grows up, these things will change. But
Yeah.
right now she can't reach stuff, but she is moving.
Yeah, she's cruising.
She's cruising.
She's definitely crawling by now.
Well, I mean, it's not like
scooting.
It's
like
it's not a
she'll get on her
legitimate
knees
crawl.
and then like fall forward.
And she's also starting to like army crawl, where she'll pull herself, like forward, which is adorable. I love it, but it also means that we've had to make some changes with what she can reach and trying to block things off. One of the things she likes to do the very most is she just scoots over. She'll like be sitting there, and we kind of put her in the living room in front of the TV, and she'll just kind of turn and scoot. And it takes her about 15 minutes to do this, but eventually she just gets to where the tile meets the carpet, and she just like sucks on that. And it's like, please stop that. It's so gross. like her one and only thing that she wants to do is find anything and put it in her mouth. But that's cool. She's learning.
Yeah.
She's curious.
Matt and I were once talking about how, I think you were talking about this with your dad, but like you can look at pretty much any object and know what it would be like to lick it, to suck on it.
Like you would know what it feels like.
Like the texture and everything, which is just so funny. And I wonder if it's because as a baby, we put pretty much everything into our mouth, and that's like how we gain experience.
Yeah.
But it's just weird. Like look at any object and be like, yep, I know what that would probably taste like. Or not taste like. Well, actually, yeah, that too, maybe.
Well, maybe taste, but at least
what it would feel like in your mouth.
Yeah, you would know what it felt like on your tongue, which is weird.
Yeah.
But probably does come from that, and our baby's getting good at it.
Yes, she is.
So
she will just like hone in on something, and like nothing can stop her.
No.
She'll like dive off the bed.
she sees like a Switch controller, and she will risk life and limb to grab it out of your hand and try and suck
like on the
it.
warpath.
Yeah.
Bulldozing
It's
through.
amazing. It's amazing.
It's cute.
I hope she keeps that drive.
Yes.
Anyway, going back, so babysat Milo and Iris. It was really fun, pretty successful. We made mac and cheese. No, we didn't. We made pizza and
they ate a bunch of grapes.
And grapes.
Oh,
yeah. Oh, but
pizza's
we
gross.
also did learn that you have to, or I was reading about this. You're supposed to cut grapes lengthwise when you give them to kids, because horizontally they can still choke on them.
Oh, really?
Because they're too wide.
Oh.
But lengthwise they'll like turn and
That
go
makes
down.
sense.
Anyway,
I didn't cut them the right way.
No,
though.
we didn't. But we gave them.
No, now though.
Yeah, but they didn't choke on anything. I mean, yeah, they're a little older. But anyway, grapes. Oh, and the pizzas. Okay, so we shop at Costco, and Costco has been really good to us, and we haven't really found very many things that we don't like at Costco, like just as far as food goes. But
Produce is always like
produce
great.
is pretty good. Their their frozen food is good too. Like that's what I'm talking, I guess, a little bit more about that, because we get these orange chicken from there, and it's good orange chicken. Like it's bomb orange chicken. But I got pizzas from there, and they are garbage. They are cardboard garbage.
That also, like, you're eating the pizza flavors, but then every once in a while it starts to taste like gingerbread, and you're like, what the heck? It's so weird.
So we would suggest against that, unless you just don't care about pizza. But maybe that's why. I just love pizza too much.
Or if you love pizza and gingerbread and want to experience it at once, like, by all means.
I will say I never experienced the gingerbread.
I swear, I was like,
but
I feel like
Brooklyn
I'm
was
eating
like-
a cookie.
Brooklyn was like, this is a gingerbread cookie. I was like, no, it's a pizza. It's a bad pizza, but it's a pizza. Eat the pizza. Pizza. Anyway, so we did that. It was really fun. Then that night we started watching. So I can't remember how this happened, but Brooklyn the other day was talking about X-Men. She's like, "Are X-Men movies good? I've never seen them." And she doesn't.
And I always got it mixed up with the Matrix, maybe because of the X at the end.
Oh, I don't know.
I think we started talking about that, and you're like, "Oh yeah, the X-Men are actually really good."
Yeah, I like the X-Men movies. So we watched over the weekend. We watched the first 3 X-Men movies and X-Men Origins Wolverine. Sorry, X-Men Origins : Wolverine. So we watched 4 X-Men movies, and they're all pretty good.
Yeah.
I
mean, there's some issues.
Okay.
There's this YouTube channel that does it evaluates the movies.
Cinema Sins.
Yeah, Cinema Sins. So it identifies all the cinema sins or the things that don't really make sense. And a lot of them were when I watched the movie, I was like, okay, yeah, that doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Or what the heck?
They are pretty
consistent.
good they are the best superhero movies pre MCU.
What's MCU?
The newest Marvel Cinematic Universe. Okay. So Iron Man, those new ones.
Yeah. I mean,
maybe
I don't
not.
Know. And they're a little bit limited by the technology of the time.
Yeah, I mean, they're
VFX.
They
were
feel
not great.
Early 2000s,
which is amazing because you watch Lord of the Rings, which was made around the same time, and it's just I don't know why, but it's so much better.
I mean, it's
Gollum was just phenomenal
thing though.
Yeah, Weta's amazing.
What?
Weta. The studio Weta, New Zealand. Is it not Weta?
Are they the ones that did it?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know.
Okay. Well,
okay.
There you
go. Anyway, they're good movies. I think that they're I'd say probably a 7 out of 10. As long as you realize that what you're watching is just kind of a fun, cheesy movie.
The best line from it. Okay, so there's this character called Storm, and she can storm storms. But there's this
bad guy named Toad.
Yeah, and he can stick his tongue out.
Yeah.
Anyways, but she's like, "Do you know what happens when a frog gets hit by lightning?" The same thing. What did you say? The same thing that happens to anyone else.
Anything else.
And then she strikes him with lightning. It was the worst writing ever.
It was the peak of Halle Berry's career. So
you expect something clever.
There are some pretty bad lines, but I think it's worth it. I think everyone should watch them. They're fun enough. Brooklyn's busting up.
It's so stupid. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's not great. No, but they're good. Sorry, that line's not great. They're good movies, and they're fun, and they're interesting. There are a lot of them. There are actually those are the 9. Those are the original ones, and then there's the whole Wolverine series. So Wolverine Origins, Wolverine Logan, and then there's the Days of Future Past ones, X-Men First. Anyway, there's a lot, but they're fun. The newer ones are pretty good. I haven't seen the newest ones though, so. Anyway, would recommend. Okay, then that next weekend, I don't know where we're at. We went through a whole week. My parents came into town on Friday. Last
Friday?
So
not this past Friday, the one before?
No, last Friday.
Yeah, not this past Friday, which was 2 days ago.
Yeah, but you say... Oh, okay.
I don't know.
Yeah, no, you're right. They got here February 28th is when they got here. And which was really fun. So they came, sorry, had a hiccupy burp thing. But okay, so they got into town and we kind of relaxed for a little bit. And that night we took them to EK Valley, as one does when they come to visit. And
it's the best.
Yeah, so now we've got two more people that can vouch that it's one of the best restaurants in the world. And definitely the best Mexican food in the world.
So good.
And so we went to that. Super fun. We just hung out and talked. And I think, was it that night that we did VR? Was it the next night? I can't remember. I showed my mom and dad VR at some point, and that was pretty fun. VR is way cool.
Yeah. His dad loved it.
Yeah, it was pretty funny. I got a game on it when it was on sale just a couple weeks ago or a month ago or something, called Surgeon Simulator. And Surgeon Simulator was made for the computer, and it has on the computer, it has some funky controls where you like use buttons on the keyboard for each individual finger, and then you use the mouse to like control the one hand that you have in the game. And so it's like, it's funny. It's obviously not like an actual surgeon simulation, like you don't actually do it.
It's meant to be.
It's kind of like, it's kind of funny, like when you break out the rib cage, like you break it out and then you can just throw the rib cage. It's like giant
chunks are like flying everywhere,
and then like you can just like reach in and like grab the lungs and pluck them out, kind of thing. You know. Gross. Anyway, it's kind of funny, but also he played that and was like, this is, the whole time he's like, this is disgusting. Which it was, probably.
It like makes me sick. There's like one that's an eye surgery, and I'm like, nope, I can't watch this.
It's hilarious, and I think that it's done really well, and I think it's funny.
It's so
I
gross.
think that it's funny. It's funny stuff. Anyway, we did that, and then so the next morning, my dad and I went to the World Rugby 7 series in Carson, and it was so much fun. We got up really early, and we went to. Because we wanted it, the gates opened at 9 and we got there at 8, so that we could make sure that we got very specific spots, because we got general admission tickets that were, and there's no reserved seating, just in the general admission, and we wanted 2 seats, and we're like, these are the seats that we want. And we got there, midfield. We were closest to midfield. You could be on the side where the sun would be behind you for most of the day. So we got in, we got those seats, and we were literally like the 5th people into the stadium, and we probably could have come hours later and still got those seats, but we got them, and that was what's important. Just kidding. Actually, I don't think they would have been there, because there's this really big group of Fiji fans that like sat right there, and they would have taken those seats, but we did it. We sat there and we watched a bunch of rugby, and rugby 7s is so fun to watch. It's like so fast paced. They're 7 guy teams. So usually rugby is, I think it's 15-man teams, and in 7s it's 7-man teams. So, but on the same size field. So it's easier to score, but it just takes, it's like really fast paced, and the halves are only 7 minutes long. So they're fast games, but it was way fun. We got to see the New Zealand, the All Blacks, like, and these teams, although they're not like the full national teams, they are the national teams, just like they recycle the guys that play in the 7s. And so, we got to see some really like famous rugby players, and so we got to see the All Blacks, and we got to see, the South Africa and Fiji and the United States. It was just way cool to be somewhere where you, and because my dad and I have followed rugby for a while and really like it, and so it was really fun to go be at a place that you watch on TV so often. So and it was really fun. All day. That's what we did. And it was an awesome trip. Awesome. It was really fun. Anyway, remember it forever, because it just was such a cool experience. And we were sitting in the middle of this like huge, I don't know what it was. There were like more Fiji fans there than like United States fans there. Like, I don't know how they all got there, but we were sitting dead like smack in the middle of this huge group of Fiji fans. And so it was when Fiji was playing, it was like way exciting, and everyone was like freaking out. It was fun. That's all. That's what we did. What did you guys do while we were gone?
So while they were watching rugby, Lori and I watched a bunch of Korean dramas, which was really fun. So we just had a relaxing day and just kind of stayed at home while June napped, and we watched Itaewon class, and I can't remember the name of the other one, but I noticed that either you or Lori changed the name of Lori's, or one of the, anyways, she changed the name of one of the Netflix profiles to be Brooklyn, and it has all those dramas on it, and so now really? I can go watch them. But yeah, we watched a few of those dramas, and it was really fun, and I learned a lot about Korean history and just their culture and things like that, so it was really fun.
Yeah.
We took a walk and just relaxed. It was nice.
Yeah, that is nice. And that night we all got back together and went to that Indian restaurant, Cali Tandoor, that we went to with Hannah, and it was good again.
Yeah,
except we did get some goat curry, and it had a lot of bones in it.
Yeah,
which when there's when there's bones in chicken, like if you're eating fried chicken, it's one thing because the general anatomy is the same and you know where to expect the bones generally. But when it's in a curry, when it's like in a stew and there's bones in it, it's like it surprises you every time. You're like, why is there a bone in this?
It's so sharp.
Yeah, but that place, man, the naan is so good.
So good. And we made some naan.
Yeah, and then after, so the next day they left early. They left early, and we went to church. And then afterwards, I made naan myself. Mm-hmm. Maybe this was during the week. I think it was during the week. But it was not as good, but it was good.
It was. I was surprised we were able to do it.
Yeah,
so well,
I think it would have been. I think it would have been really good, on a grill, like over flame. But we just did it in a pan. But it was good. Mm-hmm. That was good.
Yeah, I would make it.
We didn't eat it with anything though.
Yeah,
that was like one of the issues. Is like
even eat it with?
Just like butter and salt, or butter and like the oil, like olive oil and balsamic vinegar.
That's right, yeah.
Which probably
and like salad,
I'm sure there's like anyone, yeah. Oh, and salad.
I think so.
I don't think so. I think we just ate bread for dinner.
Sometimes we get fancy.
That's all right. Yeah, super fancy. But it was.
Have we talked
really
about
good.
poor man's bread? We've talked about
I think
right?
so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Or we just basically.
I just like
eat.
The more I think about it, the more
bread.
it's like just garbage. It's like so bad.
It's kind of good though.
Yeah, sometimes.
Anyways.
No, it's not.
But it was, yeah, naan was good.
No, naan was good.
And I just love like making new stuff. Like we made our pie or bagels. It's so fun.
We made a pie?
Yeah, we made pies. We made the pumpkin pies twice.
Oh, pumpkin pies. Yeah.
It's delicious. Like cheesecake.
Mm-hmm. And so that was really good. Then the biggest news from the last 3 weeks, Brooklyn and I finally beat.
Yes, we did.
Luigi's Mansion 3. We did it.
It
took us a long time just because we didn't play it all the time. But it was way fun. Luigi's Mansion 3 is a great game.
Yeah. We beat King Boo at the end, and it was awesome.
Yeah. And I think that it just real quick on it. I think that it's a really good game. And the reason that... Sorry. I love Nintendo games because they do a really good job of blending content for kids and content for adults. So like in Mario Kart, you can play on different difficulties, but you can also, on the newest Mario Kart, you can make it so the car is always driving forward and it can't go off the sides, so that young kids...
Which is helpful for me, not just kids.
Which is right. Like, so
some adults do.
So it just like makes it accessible to more people so anyone can have fun. Luigi's Mansion does a really great job of blending this like very like I don't know, because the whole premise is like you're Luigi in a haunted mansion and you're going around sucking ghosts up with a vacuum, essentially. Mm. It's called the Poltergeist, which I think is hilarious. Anyway, and so it's kind of a scary thing that they present in a very like cartoony, fun way that is fairly challenging, but it's challenging enough that it's fun for adults, but like simple enough that you could play it with a kid.
Like you can get through the whole game like pretty simple, like easily as a kid, but there's a lot more that you can go after. Like there's certain gems and things that you can look for that are a lot more tricky to find, but that you don't have to find in order to beat the game.
Yeah.
So little kids can go through without necessarily finding everything and still have a really good time. But then adults or people who want more of a challenge can go a little deeper.
Yeah.
So it's fun.
Yeah. Anyway, well, I mean, it's a 10 out of 10 kind of game. I've really been happy with the Switch and the games that have been on it. So we now have, or I've put them in order of games basically that I've beat, but like the new Pokemon game was really good. It was super fun. Breath of the Wild is like one of the best games of all time. Anyway, yeah, Switch is great, and Luigi's Mansion 3 is top notch. The next game that comes out in soon is Animal Crossing. I'm so excited for it.
Very excited.
I'm so excited for it. Because Animal Crossing is dope. Anyway, so then yes,
we didn't talk about June's 6-month birthday.
I don't remember what happened. I mean, she turned 6 months old.
She turned 6 months
but not
old.
really,
because the 30th of February doesn't exist. As I said on my post.
Yeah.
On Instagram. But yeah, so she turned 6 months.
She's 6 months old.
And yeah, she's sleeping a lot better.
Yeah. Well, we do have this still.
We have a baby update.
Baby updates
we'll
are
talk
after.
about that in a second.
Come on. Actually, I probably should mix that in too. We'll see.
That's fine. I just didn't see it at the end.
Yeah, I know. And then yesterday was really nice. Brooklyn got all of her animation reviews done during the week, which was awesome. So
because right now I have 2 classes that I'm teaching an animation course, and one of them has 20 students and one has 30 students, which is a lot.
Yeah.
Because usually I have just one class, but the teacher or the owner, I guess, of the course asked if I could do another course. And sometimes more students sign up. And so anyways, but it just like, I only give like a 3 or 4 minute video just to give them some pointers and feedback. But even then it just takes a long time.
It's hours.
Yeah. It's really fun. I like it. But if I can like do it a little bit at a time during the week, it's so much better because otherwise I leave it to Saturday. And it's like it takes, running a marathon.
Yeah, it's like
because it takes so long, and my voice hurts.
To 1 or 2 kind of thing.
Yeah,
like it takes a long time.
And,
so
and so it's like it eats my Saturday up.
Yeah. So, but she didn't have that, so we got to relax. And since we had so much time, we also drew a stick from our date stick. We have a popsicle stick jar that has date ideas or just thing ideas, so that when we're like, what are we going to do? Then we can...
In that voice. Exactly.
In that voice. We can then draw a stick and it will choose for us. Last
time we did this, like, we pulled 3 or 4 sticks and all of them were board games. It was like Mancala, Uno. What was the other one?
Checkers. Sequence or
and
something.
Matt was like,
it's garbage.
Dying.
He's
like, are you kidding me?
But it's fun because then
I am so good at Mancala, so I was so.
But it is good because then it's like basically what we have chosen is that the jar decides. So no matter what, you can't just put it back unless it's like physically impossible, because we do have some things in there that are like, go to this museum or go to this museum, and so if we don't have a whole day, we'll put those back. But for some of the small things, it's like you have to do it. So yesterday we drew one and it said, learn origami. so which Brooklyn put in there. Yeah, I made my first paper crane.
I should send a picture.
It is garbage.
It is amazing.
It is the ugliest crane ever. Brooklyn spent the rest of the day kind of making other like smaller ones, and she put a string of them above her desk, and it's really cute. But she also put mine up there. So
yeah, it's cute.
So it's ugly.
No, it's cute.
No, it's bad.
It's my favorite one.
So, but that was fun. It was fun to do some origami, but no, it wasn't. Just kidding. I've just the more I learn about myself, the longer I live with myself, the more I realize that when it comes to things that take a lot of patience and time, I'm not very good at that. Like, to do good origami, the folds have to be very precise.
I spent like 20 minutes on one because I was like, I have to make it.
Perfect.
Like, I just want to try to make all the things line up. Otherwise, it messes up folds later on.
Right.
And yeah, it's hard, but.
Yeah, and I mean, I think I could do it with practice, but I don't want to. just kidding. I do.
It's okay. Which is funny.
I was thinking about
which is funny because Matt is able to perfect certain moves in video games and will spend hours doing it.
No. This is what I'm saying.
So I don't think it's a patience thing. I think it's a subject matter.
Okay, so maybe paper is boring. Maybe folding paper is boring.
Because there are just a few games that I'll be able to play for a long time, whereas Matt just gets super into them and is able to have the patience and persistence to work through it, where it's like, for me, I'd just give up after a few minutes. So
maybe.
So yeah, we just
maybe
have
it's about
different
maybe
interests.
it's like art and creation, like
because I love getting being creative with my hands.
Yeah, you do.
So yeah,
that's interesting. So we did that. I'm looking at that crane right now, and it just makes me sick. It's so bad.
You can't even tell which one it is.
I know exactly
they all
which
look
one.
Great.
No, they don't. Mine is garbage.
It's like crumpled.
Mine is like crumply. It's so bad.
Crumply and crumply.
It's like, yeah, no, it's just so bad. And then after that for lunch yesterday, we went to, so what we've decided to do with restaurants right now is we're just going to every restaurant. So we're just typing in restaurants near me, and then every restaurant that's closest to us. So as an expanding circle, we're just going to go to every restaurant on that list. And the newest one is, or the one we went to yesterday, is a Mexican restaurant that's just down the street, called El Rio Bravo.
And it was perfectly...
No.
It was perfectly mediocre at best.
No, it was like, we went there and it was the restaurant itself was like not a bad, like it was a clean restaurant, and
they had like orchids everywhere.
And yeah, it was like
nice
a good atmosphere and environment, but the food was like bad.
It was just very bland.
Like Brooklyn's, yeah. So we got a burrito and I got enchiladas, and it came out, and I just wanted to try the sauce that was on Brooklyn's because it kind of like had smothered her burrito, and I like tried it and I was like, that tastes like SpaghettiOs. Like this sauce they put on it like tastes like SpaghettiOs, and they just had kind of mushy beans and dry rice, and it was just like, I don't know, and maybe it's like the snobbish LA eater.
No, it definitely tastes
no,
like
it wasn't.
SpaghettiOs.
Well, no. Well, I'm saying just like it wasn't good. It wasn't very good Mexican food. Yeah. Especially, I mean, EK Valley is different. It's just, it is so
like,
unique.
I feel like it's a higher end. Like they have like,
their food is so good.
Yeah, they've like won awards and stuff too.
But this place was just like, it's kind of like the place, like an authentic, I'm doing air quotes, authentic Mexican restaurant in Lyman, Wyoming. It's just like how authentic can it be? You know, it might be good, and I'm sure there are some things on that menu that are actually pretty good.
Yeah. But there were also like burgers and
it's just kind of like it's just kind of its own thing.
Not very focused, I guess.
Like I would eat there. I would probably eat there again.
No, that's not what you said yesterday.
No, it's not. As I was leaving, I was much more impacted by this. After time, I've been able to think about it a little more.
Sludging home with our bloated bellies.
Yeah, yesterday I was not kind to. If I was a critic, that's when. No, I shouldn't have.
Well, what one critic said before we went there, we read some reviews, and they said that this restaurant's food peaks at its chips and salsa, and that's not very good.
Yeah, and even that's not very good. It gets worse from there, which is maybe true. I don't like being mean to restaurants.
You don't have to like it.
I don't not like it, and I don't not like the people. Just kidding. I just feel like sometimes food is like, sometimes we can be really snotty about food even when it's not actually that bad.
Yeah.
But this one I would go back. I would go back if someone was paying for me, I think. I'd get something else. I think that maybe they might do better burgers than they do Mexican food, you know? Like, just get a cheesesteak. They had cheesesteaks there. Get a cheesesteak at the Mexican restaurant and see what that tastes like. But no, it was not good. We would never take anyone there.
Nope.
But it's close, and we did it. So the next one's a Chinese restaurant that's over by the hospital. So we'll see how that goes. Also this week, just to tag this on at the end, because I remember Brooklyn cleaned everything in the house. I mean, like she went through
not everything.
No, everything. I mean, she did the dishes, and she cleaned the countertops, and she mopped the floors, and she vacuumed, and she organized both our bookshelves, and she moved everything away, and we got rid of a bunch of clothes, and she went through a bunch of baby clothes, and she I don't know, that's probably it, but like did so much cleaning.
And the reason is because I'm currently not on a project.
Yeah, that's right. So
and
Brooklyn Brooklyn finished on Goat on Friday. Not this Friday, but last Friday.
Right. So I've been off, right? Has it been a whole week?
It's been a whole week, yeah.
So I've been like unassigned for a whole week.
Right. So she's been doing some things, but a lot of the time she just doesn't have anything to do, and so she's just been like cleaning everything up, and it's been awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hopefully I'll be we'll have some
there are
news
some
next
there
week,
are some yeah, so there are some things in the works. And also some secret assignments that they're talking about doing with Sony.
Yeah. We will let you know.
We'll
We'll probably know by
when
the
stuff
time
is
we record
when
another
stuff's
Walk and Talk.
ironed out. I'm sure by the end of next week.
Yeah.
We'll know.
Right.
Okay. Dope.
Dope.
Okay. Now quick baby update. Ba-deep, ba-deep, ba-deep. That's the baby update. So ba-deep, ba-deep, ba-deep.
Nice.
Okay. So Juniper she's 6 months old. She is moving a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And she just started solids, and Brooklyn can't stop feeding her solids. It's like the things we always read stuff.
Excited.
We always read stuff online that's like, it's like, okay, make sure when you're introducing things specifically like common allergens, peanuts, and things like that you do one thing. It's at least 5 days of the same thing, and then move on to the next thing. And Brooklyn like is always like every day she's like, try this, in this.
No,
in this.
I just think about it. I'm like, okay, wait, can we try this? Yeah. You're like, no, we just fed her peanut butter.
I'm
like,
being hyperbolic.
Yeah, he is.
But she started eating things, and some things she likes and some things she does not like.
And I'm realizing when the best times are to feed her, because I like to feed her in the bath, like right before she takes a bath, so that she can just be like naked in there
and wash her off.
And I can just wash her off right after.
She's messy right now.
Yeah, which is fine. Anyways, but that's usually not a good time because she hasn't eaten usually by that time for like an hour, so she's just like, or a couple hours, so she gets kind of cranky.
Yeah.
And anyway, so you don't want to be like forcing food on a baby who's like cranky and not in the mood to learn
and eat new food.
Yeah. So.
We have we were given, David and Clarissa gave us some extra baby food that they had that they're not going to use anymore. And so we had a little can of like the Gerber chicken paste.
Oh, it's so gross.
and it barely touched June's lips and just puckered and like pulled away. She's pretty good about trying a lot of different things, but she hated that. It was the worst thing. She hated it so much, which was kind of funny. But
she loves
who wouldn't?
No.
That's like disgusting. Who was the one that was like at Gerber? They're like, okay, hear me out. Chicken. Pureed chicken in a bottle. Ew. It's like the same guy that probably is going to be like, okay, hear me out. Hamburger. Like, wait, hamburger? Yeah, all of it. Like pickles, lettuce, ketchup, like, everything.
Puree it up, blend
and
it,
then
stick
feed
it in a
that
bottle.
to a baby.
Ew, it's so gross.
Anyway.
But yeah.
Next, she's moving a lot, and she rolls really well, and she even can sit up into her own sitting position. She can get her legs under.
Ever so often. It's not super consistent.
And as a matter of fact, she did it a couple times, and while she's just playing on the floor, she'd do it while we're doing some other stuff, like kind of paying attention to her. Probably should pay better attention to her. But then sometimes she'll like tip over backwards, and she'll like arch her back at the same time, so
she's
it
like,
really bonks her head. And
like
that makes her really sad.
Really
and she hasn't done she did that like twice while when she got herself up. And I think that she hasn't tried so much to get, yeah. Poor baby.
Yeah. So I've started like when she's sitting up, I've started like putting pillows all the way around her so that she does fall back
it won't like hurt her because yeah. But that's been pretty cool. And then the most amazing thing is the last 4 days, we haven't had to feed her at midnight.
Yeah.
So
she just
she'll
dropped
cry
it kind of on her own.
So she'll wake up and she'll cry and cry and cry and then go back to sleep. Last night she didn't even cry at midnight. She just slept through it.
Yeah.
And so it was one feeding at 4:00 yesterday.
Yeah. Because usually what happens is she'll like fuss and then get all quiet and like suck on her thumb, and then she'll fuss a little bit more. And when she does that, it's like you kind of want to see if she'll soothe herself.
Yeah.
And so it's not like we're letting her cry forever, but
no, she's learning. She's
learning to put herself back
sleep
to sleep
through stuff, and that's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
That's
so
great.
last night was like the first big step.
Yeah, we are.
But too bad it was daylight savings and we went to bed late.
So it didn't help us very much, but it helped her, and that's going to be really good. So we think she'll be sleeping. Hopefully, if everything goes as planned, which it probably won't, she'll be sleeping through the night by the end of the month. But
yeah,
we'll see. We'll see how it goes. But that's it, right?
Yeah, I think so.
June is cute little baby butt. Cute little baby. Yeah, I don't know. What else?
I think that's about it.
That's it.
Yep. We love you guys.
Love you. And I would promise that you'll get another one of these next week, but you probably won't. So
see you in a month.
See you in a month. Love you.